Hi, this is James Gordon here with another book in the October Terrors, or short story I should say, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. This was originally published in the sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayola Gent by C.S. Van Wickle in 1820. This edition was published by Torg in December 1990. This was fun reading this horror classic again. I first discovered about this short story after I saw the film Sleepy Hollow, directed by Tim Burton, one of my favorite late 90s horror films. And my dad got me this as a Christmas gift, and the moment I got it, I read it instantly, and I really enjoyed it. I find it's one of my favorite classic horror tales. As I can only imagine how terrifying this would be if you were riding on horseback through a thick forest at night with only moonlight to guide you, and all of a sudden you're being chased by a headless horseman at night, and you have pretty much nothing to defend yourself back then. So this was a really good short story. I love the setting it takes place in. While there's not that many characters in the short story we come to know, Irving does a good job of describing the scenery and what the characters are doing, and then the finale at the end. I really enjoyed that. There were some issues I had with the short story, but overall I enjoyed it, and I strongly feel that the film Sleepy Hollow, directed by Tim Burton, it really improves the short story, and it adds more to it, which I feel actually the film is actually a lot better than the short story that it's based on. But this is still worth a read. Like, if you love horror classics or just enjoy reading horror, then you definitely need to check out The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. It's a really good short story. All right, onto the review, and spoiler alert, I will give away crucial details within the short story. Plot. During the autumn season of 1790, in the countryside of Tarrytown, a Dutch settlement with a secluded glen known as Sleepy Hollow, a supposedly haunted forest where a headless horseman roams in search of his missing head. While the locals have reported seeing him riding during the night, but do not dare travel alone in fear of being chased by the headless horseman. Ichabod Crane, a school teacher from Connecticut, is hoping to win the heart of a rich daughter, Katrina Van Tessel. She comes from a wealthy family and believes by marrying her he'll be able to be part of royalty and raise a family. However, another man has his eyes on Katrina, Abraham Van Blunt, or known by his nickname Brawn Bones, for being very strong, tall, and double-jointed. He and his close group of friends are disliked by the locals for pulling cruel and mean pranks along with riding their horses very fast. Brawn takes a disliking to Ichabod, who he sees as a pushover, and tries engaging in a fight, which he refuses. Annoyed, Brahm and his friends cause a series of pranks. One of them is throwing a brick through the window at his school, scaring Ichabod as he cowardly hides in the bathroom. Ichabod rides through the forest area towards a party where Katrina is there in an attempt to win her heart over Brahm by dancing. Ichabod enjoys the scenery while hearing the wildlife around him, from birds to frogs. When he reaches the party, Ichabod tries to enjoy himself and dance with Brahm silently watching him in the corner. As it gets late into the evening, Brahm begins telling the tale of the Headless Horseman. A Hesse trooper, German soldier who served for the British, lost his head during the Revolutionary War. He rises from his grave in search of his head and will chase anyone who crosses him, but cannot leave the area of Sleepy Hollow. As the men around the table begin telling more ghost stories and jokes, with it becoming darker outside is making Ichabod feel uneasy. Katrina, not impressed by the school teacher finding him weak, causes Ichabod to leave the party and return home on his horse Gunpowder. With only moonlight to guide him through the thick forest, Ichabod finds the chilly atmosphere around him haunting, along with hearing the owls. He then hears another horse coming behind him. Ichabod stops and calls out as he watches the dark figure approaching him on a black horse, and is horrified to see it's the Headless Horseman. Ichabod urges Gunpowder to move faster, with the Headless Horseman catching up. In an attempt to lose his pursuer, Ichabod lights a sack filled with gunpowder and throws it at the Headless Horseman. It explodes, causing the Headless Horseman to nearly fall off his horse. Ichabod pushes Gunpowder to move faster, with a bridge appearing, but just as Ichabod enters inside the bridge, he is horrified to see the Headless Horseman on the other side and throws a flaming jack-o'-lantern. It explodes, with Ichabod falling off his horse. The following morning, Gunpowder is found eating grass with its rider Ichabod Crane missing. A smashed pumpkin is found in the bridge, but no signs of where Ichabod has gone. Katrina marries Brom with the residents of Tarrytown, unsure if the legend of the Headless Horseman is true, or did Brom dress up as the mythical figure and murdered Ichabod or scared him out of town. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow was a short yet fun horror story. Like the setting, it takes place from the opening part of Ichabod approaching Tarrytown during the autumn season, and its lonely ride through the spooky forest of Sleepy Hollow. While detail was very good in both locations and characters, however, there isn't much dialogue as the whole story is told through third person. While Irving does a good job of describing what the characters were doing, however, I wish he added dialogue, as it's quite difficult at times to envision what the characters are saying to each other and would have added more layers to them. Enjoy the finale as it's open-ended to possibilities of the cruel prank gone too far, or a possible murder, or even the supernatural. It's up to the reader what they think happened. The character of Ichabod Crane is well liked and more friendly than the mean Brom, who I disliked as he's a real jerk. As for Katrina, despite being beautiful, however, she favors Brom over Ichabod since he's more manly than a pushover like Ichabod. Like the old saying goes, girls like bad boys over nice guys. I really didn't like Katrina at all. As for the 1999 film Sleepy Hollow, directed by Tim Burton and starring Johnny Depp, is one of my favorite late 90s horror films based on this short story. I felt the film really fleshes out the characters, giving them a short yet detailed backstory, along with adding more elements to the plot, and lots of bloody scenes of people being beheaded by the Headless Horseman, with Christopher Walken delivering a frightening portrayal of the character. Very well shot film with a solid cast of actors, along with not changing too much around in the original story. While I enjoyed the short story for what it is, however, I preferred Tim Burton's version as it's a lot more scary and adds more to the plot, and it's a lot more violent. Overall, I still recommend The Legend of Sleepy Hollow for anyone who's a lover of horror or classic horror. You'll enjoy this short yet fun story. Alright, that's the review today. Hope you enjoy it. And I had fun reading the short story again. It's been so long since I last read The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I really love the opening part of the story where Ichabod is approaching Tarrytown, and it's this beautiful autumn season, and there's he sees the wildlife, and he hears it all around him. It's very peaceful at the start. And then when he gets to the town, he's being harassed by Brom and his friends, who I really disliked. And then when he gets to the party, Ichabod just wants to have a good time and hopefully win the heart of Katrina, who unfortunately favors Brom over him. And as I felt, you know what, Ichabod, trying to win the heart of Katrina isn't worth it. You probably can find some better woman somewhere else than here. I know that back then, both men and women did try to marry someone who was very well off, because if they essentially got married to that person, they would be set for life, and they didn't have to worry about working that much, because a lot of jobs back then didn't pay a lot. So if you were to marry someone who's very wealthy, you'll be set for life essentially, and then if you raise a big family, you then get more income for the government, from what I read in from history books during school. But yeah, so I really dislike the characters of Katrina and Brom. I just really dislike these two characters a lot. I did like the character of Ichabod Crane. He's just an average, everyday guy, just, trying to enjoy himself and have fun. That's all he is. And, of course, the Headless Horseman is a very terrifying character, a person that essentially has no head and chases after anyone should they come across. He chases anyone who comes across him, and his whole, while the author doesn't really describe what the character is wearing, he's just mostly, it's described him wearing his uniform during the war, and rides a black horse. And I can only imagine how terrifying this would be if you were to just be riding a horse through the forest or some area out at night, and all of a sudden you're being pursued by a headless horseman. That would be terrifying. And there wasn't much back then to defend yourself if you're being chased after by someone. Your choices of defense were either like a sword, like a dagger, or like a flintlock pistol. But the thing with these is that you have to put the ball and then you gotta like ram the rod and then gunpowder and stuff. It's very time consuming. That so you don't have a lot to defend yourself, or like call for help if you're being attacked or chased by someone late at night during the setting of the story. So I really like this story. I just like the whole setting of it, and the character of the Headless Horseman. He's absolutely terrifying. And the ending is open-ended. It's up to the reader to decide if they think this was Brahm who did this as a cruel prank gone too far, a murder attempt to get rid of him so that way no one would stand in his way for Katrina, or was the whole thing supernatural? It's up to the reader's side, and I like that. I think that's a very fun way to end the story. As for the film, Sleepy Hollow, directed by Tim Burton, this, as I said, is one of my favorite late-night horror films. I really feel that the film really improves the short story, adds more to the plot, it fleshes out the characters more, and the cast does an excellent job playing all the different characters. There's a lot of like legendary actors in it. I believe, who is it? I'm forgetting who his name is, but at the beginning of the movie, some well-known actor plays a judge, and Ichabod is trying to convince the court that cruel punishment is not the way to go. They need to adapt to science to prove that to find the criminals responsible than just torturing people that might have nothing to do with it. It's not working. I forget what the actor's name is. I know it's. I can't remember. So some well-known actor, But anyway, the cast does an excellent job playing all the different characters. Johnny Depp is really good, and Christopher Walken really delivers a terrifying performance of the Headless Horseman with like these like shark teeth. He's terrifying in the film. It's a lot of fun. It's very violent, and overall, it's a really good film. So if you haven't seen Sleepy Hollow, I recommend you check it out. It's an excellent movie, and to read the short story as well. It's a lot of fun to read. Alright, that's the review today. Hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel where I post book reviews, book hauls, and our fiction-related content. Until then, I'll catch you later.